Well, hello, America. Welcome to One-on-One Sports. I'm Andrew Springs. Tonight's top story out of Elon University, where One-on-One Sports has learned that I, in fact, know nothing about sports.
And I'm Mike Feldman. That's right. After all, you were the Mr. This LeBron James guy is going to be a huge bust, right?
I was that guy. But tonight we have a great show for you as we will recap the weekend that was at Augusta National, as well as break down the NBA and NHL playoffs.
Don't change that channel because One-on-One Sports starts right now.
Today with the weekend that was at Augusta National. Phil Mickelson wrapped up his third major Masters title and his fourth major overall. But obviously the real story was Tiger Woods' return to golf. Feldman, what do you think about Tiger's performance this past weekend?
I think Tiger stole the show. From what people were expecting to, some potential real problems on the golf course, I think Tiger finished extremely well considering the circumstances. He still did some un-Tiger-like things. His three-putt on the back nine in the final round, where it could have been a birdie, ended up a bogey. Un-Tiger-like, but I think he'll find his game and he can definitely compete in the U.S. Open.
Absolutely. I think he's going to steal the show no matter what, because ESPN and the media in general is going to give him the kind of coverage that warranted him stealing the show no matter what. My thing is that he's trying to phase out his emotion, his raw feelings, I guess, when he plays the game of golf. And that makes him a very boring, very bland golfer to watch. If he really wants to capture the kind of old Tiger that he used to be, he's going to have to play with the same emotion that he played before this entire scandal happened.
Well, we saw a lot of Tiger's negative emotions on the tee box. When he would hit a bad drive, he would automatically drop the club and go, "Oh, Tiger." He was saying a lot of Tigers out there. But, obviously, we want to see some positive emotion. You want to see the classic Tiger fist pump. That's the Tiger I'm looking to see.
I agree, and you really have to be happy for Phil. But another story that people overlook, Anthony Kim, 7 under, final round at Augusta. I was blown away that a guy he's been on the tour for 3-4 years now, but at the same time, young guy just coming out, not caring about everything else going on around him and shooting having the round of the tournament. Nice job to him.
Absolutely. Well done, Anthony Kim. John Calipari led Kentucky to the Elite Eight in his first season with the Wildcats, but with the departure of 4 of his starting 5 to the NBA, he will have to reload again next year. Calipari is no stranger to having a star one-and-done player, but Springs, how do programs survive with a key nucleus leaving every year?
Well, John Calipari is a tireless recruiter. Recruiting will not be the problem for him at Kentucky. Well, and while I may dislike the guy for leaving every program seemingly in ruins, Memphis, UMass, sorry, he's a great recruiter. The talent won't be the problem, but getting past the Elite Eight, past the Final Four, and actually winning a national championship,
it's hard to do without that key nucleus.
Exactly, and I don't think that Calipari can ever get it done because he says that he values talent over experience no matter what game in the NCAA tournament, but at the same time, we've seen him get there with Memphis, and he couldn't get it done.
I think there is no way that the Kentucky Wildcats make the NCAA tournament next year unless they expand the field. They did not have a top 10 recruiting class this year. We saw the best players, Harrison Barnes and Kyrie Irving, go to ACC schools, and the best recruiting class in the nation was his old school, Memphis. So I think Memphis got a significantly better chance of making the tournament and doing well than Kentucky.
Bold prediction, we'll see how it turns out. With the exception of the 8th seed in the Eastern Conference, the NBA playoffs are pretty much set. And here's a surprise, the Cavaliers and Lakers are each heavy favorites. Again. But Feldman, as we saw in last year's playoffs with the Orlando Magic, is there one team that can ruin the Kobe-LeBron matchup as we saw last year?
I'm always going to have to go with experience, and for me, the 2 most experienced teams in the East and the West is the Celtics and the Nuggets, respectively. Celtics, they won a championship a couple years ago. They got Pierce, Garnett, Allen. If they're healthy, and Rondo, if they're all healthy, they can definitely pose a threat to the Cavs. Plus, biggest thing, they had a winning record against the Cavs this year, so they know how to handle them.
I agree. I think the Magic, they're not really an underdog, but I think the Magic can do the same thing that they did last year.
Absolutely.
No one can stop Dwight Howard, and if you can't stop Dwight Howard, he's clearly going to win the East and get to the NBA Finals as he did last year. In the West, I really, really like what Alvin Gentry's done with the Suns since he's taken over.
Big Alvin Gentry fan.
Big Alvin Gentry fan. The points per game against, ever since Alvin Gentry took over, has gone way down. Steve Nash deserves a title, is good enough to win a title, and I don't know why the Cavaliers didn't pull the trigger on the Amare for J.J. Hickson trade. I really think that could come back to bite them.
Absolutely, Amare, game changer.
Personally, I see a Cavs-Suns final, which should be really fun to watch.
That would be. However, I think the Lakers are going to get there and win it all again. When West Virginia head coach Bob Huggins consoled senior forward Deshaun Butler after his ACL injury in the national semifinal against Duke, many were fascinated by the emotion both men showed. Many sincere emotional moments often get underplayed in sports, but Springs, when we look back for an emotional moment, what sticks out in your mind?
Well, I was less than a year old, actually, at the time. It was 1990. It was the West Coast Conference Tournament, and Hank Gathers collapsed and died in the semifinal game against Portland. The West Coast Conference Tournament was shut down, stopped. Loyola Marymount was given the automatic bid because they had won the regular season. Subsequently, Loyola Marymount went and made it to the Elite Eight. Hank Gathers' best friend, Bo Kimball at the time, who was not left-handed, shot free throws just like Hank Gathers. And people to this day still tell me, grown men, that when that moment happened, each game that he did in the first, second, and third round, that everyone in the stands, everyone watching just broke down and cried because it was a symbol of remembrance that you don't often see in sports today. And I think that it can truly be appreciated for the sincere gesture that it really was.
For me, another similar, player like camaraderie emotion moment. Jerry Remy slid into home plate and broke his leg, and Jim Rice, newly elected Hall of Famer, came out there and picked up his teammate and brought him into the dugout. Jerry Remy's crying. It's like last game of the season, and Jim Rice just picked him up and brought him into the dugout. Those are two teammates that really cared about each other, and it's nice to see that kind of moment in sports.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. Well, I wish this show did not have commercial breaks, but it does, so deal with it. But when we return, I'll be joined by Tom Waterman and Rich Ryan to break down the upcoming NBA playoffs. Don't change that channel. You're watching One-on-One Sports.